Welcome to the Throwback Guitar Lounge podcast, episode number 27.
27 of the Throwback Guitar Lounge podcast. And in this episode of the Throwback Guitar Lounge, we're going to get right to the guitar stuff in the viewer mail, or throwback mailbox. And it's going to be hand wound versus machine wound Telecaster pickups, the ultimate tone test. We're going to get right into that.
And in the guitar argument, we're going to do lightning round again, like last episode. See how that goes.
That's right. We're going to do the lightning round guitar argument, but we're going to have a tone battle right off the bat with guitars in our hands right now.
What have you got there?
Two Telecasters. Jimmy Page. I've got a Jimmy Page
Signature
Telecaster, and this is a 50s Baja. And we're going to, we'll get into what's going to go on here in just a second. But first, let's check in with Paul. There's Paul. We had people wondering, where was Paul last episode? Paul, you're there. You need to speak. Say something.
Hello, everybody.
See?
I have to
still
say
here.
something. I have to say that, no, what is Paul doing today?
Paul, tell us all what you're doing today. You're
I am installing covers on humbuckers.
yes, we have some large dealer orders.
Well, that's a nice picture there. You can see that.
You guys, you can see him. He's got a whole line of our pickups right there. Our fabulous PAF reproduction pickups that he is installing our one-of-a-kind throwback PAF vintage reproduction covers on. He's very scientifically lining everything up for the camera. Paul, or before we started this podcast, Paul was out of the office for a second because you were doing what?
I was dropping off Collings Guitar's latest order at FedEx.
Oh, yeah, we had a large order for Collings of pickups, and those are out the door.
Those are due to arrive in Austin on Wednesday, but maybe before Wednesday next week.
Put in awesome guitars, of which we have a few, to our own possession.
Yeah, that's right. I thought there was one behind, but it's not there right now.
No, that one's in its case. There's only so many you can put on the wall here. But okay, we'll get right to the throwback mailbox, and the throwback mailbox is the reason we've got the guitars here.
Right.
One of the throwback mailbox topics was the question was actually, this was an email question. It was.
Can I say something, though?
Sure.
I think you've really outdone yourself, because I think we got another email from a customer who was complaining that we're not getting to the point fast enough. And I think today's show,
I'm right on it.
You're like
read the criticism.
You're coming out of the gates.
Read it, because with this podcast, we strive to improve every episode. In fact, we're so focused on this that we're doing it on a second by second, minute by minute, second by second basis.
Sometimes we
even milliseconds.
We're so dissatisfied with the result, we just redo the podcast again.
Well, that's true, actually, not because we're dissatisfied, but because something hasn't worked properly.
Well,
computers aren't as perfect as you'd hope.
That's okay.
But anyway,
we get it done.
Just give us this useful feedback here.
Okay, so the email that came in it said, listening to your podcast is real torture because of how inarticulate your talking heads are. And I guess that's us.
I think it's me. Matthew, you're very articulate.
You're going to take the hit for that?
I'm going to take it. I'm going to own it.
But I thought
I think what's happening is I am so eager to communicate with the audience that sometimes my thoughts get ahead of my ability to verbalize it.
Well,
and I think that that's forgivable.
Yes, I do.
Don't you?
Yes, I like the analogy of the podcast being that if you walked into a guitar store on a Saturday afternoon, you're not in a hurry to go anywhere.
Sure.
And you're picking up little bits and pieces of conversation, and there's some guy at the counter who's got some old vintage guitar he's brought in to get fixed, and it's like you wander over and it's like, oh my God, what is that?
Yeah.
And that's happened to all of us, I think.
That's right. I mean,
that's kind of the fun of
if I'm
going to the guitar store,
if I'm too polished in my delivery, I'm going to be without a personality, is my theory. Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, but we'll focus on improving this. Or I will. Matthew, you're doing great.
Okay.
So,
So on
the articulation. What is the other thing we got to work on here? Or I got to. Well, maybe it's both of us, but I'm going to take the hit for this. I'm a talking head.
That our information rate is only 35%,
and he actually put a percentage on this?
Yes, I don't know how he came up with that. I don't believe that's true. I think
I'm questioning whether that was a human response now.
Oh boy, maybe it was. You think it was a
35%? You can put a percentage on. Okay, well, all right. Well, just to let the audience know, we're always improving.
Yeah, but our information rate is higher than 35% for Pete's sake.
Of course. Okay. So we got the guitars here, and now let's go back here. I will explain the reason for playing these guitars. The viewer mailbox question was, actually this is an email directly, is do we have a clip that compares the T59 MXV T-style pickups that we make compared to the T65 T-style Telecaster pickups? And the answer is I don't have a direct comparison video. So we're going to do that in this podcast right now.
Now we will have one.
Now, the reason this is an important, I thought this was an important, we're not just talking about two different models of pickups. We're talking about the T59 set, which historically is correct in the context of it being a hand scatter wound pickup. Mm-hmm. And the T65 is historically correct, because that's what we do. We make historically correct stuff here. It's machine wound, mm-hmm. which is correct. This is where Fender transitioned into machine winding pickups. So they both have the same stagger. They are two different guitars. They do have... But they actually don't have the same resistance. And for the purposes of this A-B comparison, I actually think it helps support the argument as far as illustrating the difference between these. So our T65 set, which Matthew, you have in your hands right there, that is in a Baja 50s Telecaster. Yeah. That is a machine wound 6.8K bridge pickup. We're just going to do the bridge pickups for this. And in my guitar, I have I'm going to play both, but I have a Jimmy Page signature guitar. Yeah, right. Sure. Yeah, signature's right there on it. Paid a lot of money for that. Mm-hmm. And this has the T59 MXV Telecaster style throwback pickups. And this bridge pickup is 7.3K, and it is hand scatter wound. Mm-hmm. Should I set up what they should hear in this? Or should we just play it? I don't know.
Play them.
Okay, I'll play it, and then we're going to play a couple of times here. Maybe I'll have a break in between them. Okay, I'm going to start off here. I'll just do clean with the hand wound T59. And then we'll play with Matthew. I'll get you a bass, mm-hmm. and then we'll play the throwback, one of the throwback theme songs, right? Okay. And we'll play them both. Okay, I'll do the little what we like to call the sort of Nashville-esque Telecaster run. Okay, that's clean with a deluxe reverb. Let's try it dirty. Again, these are the T59 hand wound pickups, 7.3K. All right, I added dirt to that with a Nobles ODR1.
Okay.
Now, that's 7.3K. Now, we'll switch guitars here, Matthew. And I'll just hand you that one. You hand me this one. Now, this is 6.8K, machine wound. Obviously, that has a rosewood neck, and it has steel saddles. This one has a maple neck, and it has brass saddles. Oh, I'll turn the pedal off there. We'll do clean again here. But 6.8K for this, but machine wound for the T65 MXV bridge pickup. Okay, that's just straight clean. Mm-hmm. Now let's do dirty. Okay, what I'm trying to demonstrate here, I think it's coming across, but we will do it again with you playing bass, is that the T65, even though it's a lower resistance, is actually a little more punchy and a little more apt to distort, to get a distorted tone out. It's actually a little higher output as far as your perception of it. I'll get into more specifics about that. See, there's the articulation thing right there. But the specifics have to do with the efficiency of a machine wound coil versus the efficiency or relative efficiency of a hand wound coil, and how does that translate sonically when you play the guitar, and in terms of output and feel.
Right.
Okay, we're going to get you a bass, Matthew, and we will play this in sort of a little sort of band context, and people can hear it too now with sort of chordal stuff, because I think maybe this difference is a little bit more noticeable that way also. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and I've got the T59 set here in this Jimmy Page signature Telecaster. I'll play a little bit clean and then a little bit dirty, and then we will switch over to the T65 set in the Baja Telecaster. Okay, we'll switch guitars. Try to play the same thing. Be right back. I'm here with the T65 set in the Baja Telecaster, and we'll start again with the clean sound. Okay. Let's discuss, Matthew. Okay, so the difference that you played this.
I played it earlier in the week,
and because we thought, like, we've got this question, we'll work it into the podcast, and but the upshot of it is, would you agree with me that the T65 set? It's a more distorted, sort of dirtier tone.
Yeah, it gets more aggressive.
It's more aggressive.
More easily.
Yeah. So in the context of hand wound versus machine wound, the way I explain it is even though the machine wound coil of the T65 bridge pickup, or T65 MXP bridge pickup is 6.8K, it is more efficient at producing a signal because of, and I tried to think, how do I explain this in terms of kind of distill it down, but there is an efficiency and a precision to a machine wound coil that's inherent to it. Mm-hmm. And that translates into just a more efficient generator of signal. And it has to do with a few things, but part of it is potentially the machine wound coil has the wire more closely distributed and evenly distributed close to the magnets. Mm-hmm. And to get the signal, you have to have, it's a combination of the coils and the magnet generating or inducing a signal when the string is plucked. So with a hand wound coil, there's an inherent inefficiency in the process of winding the coil, and also the signal that comes out of it, and there is less precision. And I'll put the precision in these terms. Precision in terms of the machine wound coil. We can make a machine wound coil, and we do for our PAF pickups. That could be a very compact coil, or it can be a very loose coil. Those two are going to be contrasted in efficiency, which also is, again, part of the the hand wound process. But we can adjust the efficiency with a precision with the machine wound pickup coil that you cannot do by hand. The reason I'll try to explain this is that if we make a looser, less compact machine wound coil, it will be done with a precision and repeatability from layer to layer that you just cannot do by hand. Now, it doesn't mean that there's one that's better than the other, but there's ramifications for that difference that manifests themselves in output, frequency response, capacitance, and inductance of the pickup. But in this demonstration, even though that Jimmy Page signature Telecaster has everything that you would think would make it brighter and higher output, and those would be 7.3K resistance, steel saddles, so it should be brighter because of the steel saddles. This Baja 50s Telecaster has brass saddles. Even though it's a higher resistance and has a arguably louder sort of bridge arrangement with saddles, this still, the 50s Baja Telecaster with the T65 MXV set, which is machine wound, still sounds hotter and a little bit sharper in the treble attack. Mm-hmm. It's not ice picky, but it's I'll try to show it right now. You get a crunchy. You get a little rattier sort of crunch to it with pick attack than you do with the
Go to your other camera angle. People can see you play there.
Yeah. Okay, let me grab the other one real quick. Matthew, you want to just hold that on your knee?
Yep.
Okay, this is the T59 set, hand wound. Actually has a sort of a little bit less attack and but more low end depth, but not as. This is a tamer individual note with the hand wound.
Is that got overdrive on it right now?
Yeah, it's got overdrive on it. So I'll play that. Okay, Matthew, hand me that one. Hand me the T65. I mean, it's hotter.
Yeah, you can definitely hear it there when you went through the same lick.
It's definitely hotter, even though it's lower resistance. Anyway, they both sound great, but I think if you're in the camp that if it's a Telecaster pickup, it's got to be hand wound. I think you're missing out on the plus side of a good machine wound Telecaster pickup. It's a hotter sound, even though it's a hotter sound without having to be a higher resistance. And these both of these have the same Gauss. Now our T65 does have Alnico 5. They're Thomas & Skinner Alnico 5. The T59 has Arnold Alnico 5, but they're the same Gauss. They have a little different character, but as far as the strength and their ability to produce a signal, they're equivalent in terms of the magnetism. So, okay, let's put these away, and we'll be right back with the industry insights.
Right.
Well, let's see. Should we do a drum roll?
Sure.
Okay, we're back. Should we check on Paul?
Yeah.
Let's go to the industry insights, but let's Paul. Let's see. Let's make sure Paul's still doing okay in there. Paul, you're working. You keep it up. He's got the soldering iron there. I don't want to disturb perfection and progress. Okay, industry insights, Matthew. We do you have some? I've got some industry insights.
I do.
That pertain to the last episode, but give me what you started off.
Okay, so this was from goes back to the last episode, and it goes back to the sort of shutting down of G&L, and we've mentioned, I believe, in the last episode, and someone commented on it about what was going on at the G&L facility, and I guess they're in Fullerton, California, aren't they? They're
so.
On Fender Avenue.
Yeah.
But this viewer said that they were leasing those buildings, and when word got out to the owners of those buildings, the landlord, that they were closing up the company, that they started clearing out the buildings, and this person's quoted as with a vengeance.
Oh.
So I guess stuff started moving fast, and he compared what was going on at G&L, what we talked about at Dean Markley when they had their string operation.
Yeah, and I went through my phone and I found photos from, and this is almost 10 years ago.
You were down there?
It was 2016 is when I was down there. But now, should I just show the photos here? So the story from last, I related the sort of similar story. I'm not cutting you off here, am I?
No, I'll finish up with something, but it's fine.
I was, I had a similar experience with this when D. Markley, which was in Vicksburg, Michigan,
South.
They moved. The company, the brand was purchased, and they stopped making strings at the Vicksburg facility. And I was told where their machines were, and they were at the facility of the guy that repaved the building, the parking lot of the building that Dean Markley used to be in. And
he wasn't suddenly interested.
He wasn't
interested in becoming a guitar string manufacturer.
No, and he
happened to be in the right place, the right time.
He didn't know the stuff what he had. But I photographed this stuff. I was considering buying it, buying them. Yeah. Buying some. But the guys that make our strings actually make the machines, so it's like I'm not going to do a better job than them. So. By the way, our strings we're known for, particularly our most popular ones are round core pure nickel electric and hex core pure nickel electric strings, which we buy the material for, and a father-son operation makes them for us that has a history of making these winding machines. So, for strings. So I went to the facility where these old Dean Markley machines were, and here's what I found. These are just a few of the shots. This is literally you couldn't even hardly fit between them. There had to be, I don't know, in this photo, I think there's 6 of them. I think there were probably like 30 machines in there.
30? Oh boy, I didn't realize there was that many.
And it's a large pole building. Mm-hmm. And they didn't have enough. So these are old. I forget the brand of this. I think it's an Italian brand, but they these particular machines in this, or at least it's Italian name, I think.
Did you see any years? Could you date the machines and know how old they were?
I think that I tried to figure that out. I think that these machines have been made basically the same for a very long time. So these probably could be from the 60s. Mm-hmm. Some of these could have been from Gibson, for all I know. Actually, one of these I think probably almost certainly was from Gibson. Okay, and outside they didn't have enough to put in everything inside. By the way, I'm showing you this because this is what happens when places go out of business, or like just move.
Yeah, they have no room
and have someone else do the job. It's the stuff in the building is not. It doesn't have a use for them anymore. And so it's in the way. And this was left outside in the rain. This has a wooden top. It's all delaminated and rusty. And, but I mean, this is the fate of some of this stuff. Mm-hmm. This is a machine here. Oh, not that one. This one. This is the one I mentioned last week that I thought had a Gibson tag on it. But I showed this to the guys that make our strings, and they said this is probably one of the very first ball and string automatic string machines. But it's if you look at the tag there on it, it says Bones Machine Company.
Is it Bowers
Bowers Machine Company.
It's something
Designers and Builders, Kalamazoo, Michigan, and then it's got a patent number on it. So this is probably a machine that was Gibson commissioned years ago, and this shop, claimed the patent for it. But it's sitting right now. Well, when I took this photos, it's sitting in the warehouse of a guy that paves parking lots.
But this was 10 years ago.
So
where are they now?
I suspect, I'm not positive on this, but I suspect these were bought by the guys that do Stringjoy.
Oh, you said that last week.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure these are perfectly, serviceable machines, and I'm glad someone's using them. But again, that's sort of like the bummer part of these. There's no more G&L, but, I don't know. The way I think about it is that the kind of the equipment that produced this stuff, it has a purpose, and it's also part of the character of the pickups that they wound on it on these machines. Like assuming there's pickup winding machines that came out of the G&L facility, so there's
had to have been
yeah. So it's a lot of what is the character of the product being made has partly to do with the machines that made it.
Yep.
Right? I mean, that's really a kind of a big part of what we make here, of what makes our stuff unique at Throwback with PAF P90 repros, is that we, and the machine wound Telecaster style stuff, is that we're using the same machines, and in turn you get the same sort of outcome tonally that the machines play a role in the final product. But now another one of the comments was, though, that they assured that everything that was in that building did not go to a junkyard, that it has been claimed by some facility that will either use it or sell some or all of it. So
that's the sort of
that's the good news.
That's the good news part of that. Yeah, because it sounds. I've been around some of those things that have factories that have closed down, and it happens pretty quick, and people have to get out fast, and you can get stuff for if you're in the right place at the right time, you can get stuff for next to nothing because people are desperate to get rid of stuff. So.
Well, it's not only that they're desperate to get rid of stuff, and I don't know that this was going on at G&L, but you also have people that may be in charge of, maybe they know their job's done, and they're not very happy about it. So you may or may not have somebody that wants to get rid of stuff in a gentle enough way to make it usable in the future.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know that that's been going on. This is a brief one. Our table in the office here, it's a nice Herman Miller table. And we are in Grand Rapids.
West Michigan,
which is, has a long history. Grand Rapids and West Michigan has a long history of making furniture. And currently still, Steelcase is here. Herman Miller. Worden, Knoll. Oh, these are all big furniture brands still, office furniture. But there was a place called Office Outlet that was in town here. They're still around, but I went to get some Herman Miller stuff there that they had cleared out, and they're beautiful mahogany topped tables. And every one of them someone had like scratched a key across it for no reason, just other than to devalue the thing because someone was pissed off, So I bought one and kind of tried to rub out the scratch, but it's still on the thing. Anyway, that's the sort of thing that can happen when you get sort of bitter employees.
I remember reading a history book about the Klondike Gold Rush, and when people would get as far as they could go, they had. The horses were getting weak or they had to get rid of stuff, they would just take a knife, like through a jacket, and put a knife right through the jacket.
Oh, so it wouldn't be an advantage to someone else who needed the jacket.
The gold fever had already sort of like caught people, and they were like,
yeah, it's either I get the gold or they get the gold, and I will not make it any easier for them.
This is on their way, I think, to the Klondike. That you would see this stuff on trails, just destroyed equipment or destroyed clothing. So.
Okay.
It's the sad part of human nature, I guess.
Well, all right. We're going to go on to something much more enlightening and uplifting.
Yes.
The Guitargument.
Yes.
We're going to go on to the Guitargument lightning round. And this is a no-holds-barred, lightning fast. You will call out the topics.
I will call out the topics. You want to put the timer on?
For 5 minutes we'll do this, and we'll each have an opinion on the spot, and this we'll follow up with a cool down where we will talk in more in depth about the topics raised.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
All right, ready, set, 5 minutes now.
Okay, wax potting, tone protector or tone killer?
Okay. I think really tone killer, but it is a mechanical pickup protector, which I think is the reason, maybe the primary reason that Leo Fender wax potted pickups. because this is something you do. His history is in radio,
right?
With radio repair, and if you ever look at an AM or AM antenna in an old radio, they're wax potted.
True.
They're wax potted, I think, to protect primarily as a way to protect the assembly. Some of those, I think, are even wrapped in string. Okay, go on. Do you have an opinion on this?
Not as much as you do, but we've played them back and forth. I guess the majority of stuff that we do, or the only stuff that we really do that is wax potted, and is for the person who is playing very, very high gain.
Except for the Fender style pickups that were historically wax potted, but we do not vacuum wax pot them, which totally kills any sort of good microphonics you would get mechanically through it. So that's the downside of wax potting, is that if you totally saturate the coil, you're just like sucking the life out of it, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you can have great sounding pickups that are totally wax potted, but the best ones, I think, still maintain some microphonics. Okay. Well, I'm doing the cool down already.
Okay. Mismatched coils, flaw or secret sauce?
Mismatched coils, flaw or secret sauce. So we're talking about humbuckers.
Right. Yes.
It is actually, I think you can have they both have their own place. It is the secret sauce of a PAF, though. The interesting part of that is the mismatched coils can be mismatched but still have the same turn count, and we will get to that in the turn count, the cool down. But that mismatching of coils is part of the secret sauce of that. But it's part of the secret sauce. The matched coils are part of the secret sauce of a great sounding T-top. Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you have? You have an opinion about that?
This is I'm going to defer to you. You just know much more about it than I do. Your expertise. This is kind of fits in with maybe with the Telecaster 65 and 59. Said, is hand wound a meaningful term anymore, or just a marketing crutch?
Well, it's meaningful in the sense that if you're hand winding them, you're hand winding them. If you're machine winding them, you're machine winding them. Although I do think. I think that, well, my recollection of starting doing this years ago was that it was a bit of a marketing crutch for the small guy making pickups, boutique pickups, because they at the time that it was not even on people's radar to machine wind pickups due to expense and availability of equipment. Now there are CNC, very compact CNC pickup winders that you can get from a place like Philadelphia Luthier Tools that are tailor made for the small boutique pickup maker. But anyway, I think it was a bit of a crutch at the very beginning, because by necessity, you had a lot of guys had to hand wind them, and then that became a feature. Mm-hmm. You see. Because everybody is, going to do it in their own unique way, because it's not a machine doing it. But anyway, do you have an opinion on that one, Matthew?
Not really.
Okay, pick one that you got an opinion on.
I got one. Well, this one we won't mention any names, but this was
we're supposed to be guitar argumenting.
This one came up today or this week, because we had somebody who I don't know if you returned the phone call to a well-known metal guitar player who had a question. Do metal players care about tone or just gain? But we won't mention the person.
I got to call him back.
You haven't phoned him.
I haven't phoned him yet.
But we won't drop his name. But
no, they obviously care about tone. I think they're like anybody else that plays guitar. They have the same sort of references for great tone, whether or not it's heavy metal.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay,
but you have to give that.
Should we do? Okay, you pick one you have an opinion on. That's the end of the guitar argument. Let's go to the cool down, though.
Okay. I had one I can't think of. Another one I was thinking that would be a good one, but here's one. Should relics include fake cigarette burns for authenticity? Do you think that's going over the top?
It's a favorite, isn't it?
You don't have one that has it.
I don't have any that. No, I think that's probably going. I think you got to put your own cigarette burns on your guitar, don't you?
Well, I
don't smoke, so
I'm guilty of doing it because I wanted.
That's right. You did have a guitar. You did that too. What was it?
It was a Robert Cray Mexican signature Strat.
Oh my!
And I don't know why the heck I sold that thing, but I did sell it.
But it wasn't a relic guitar.
I reliced it.
What did you do? What did you do other than that? I do remember this now.
By the arm curve, I sanded it with.
Oh my gosh!
But I did a good job on it. It did look good. And then I thought, oh, well, I've done it before on some furniture, so I knew a little bit about what I was doing, but just from trial and error. But I took a cigarette and I thought, and I don't smoke either, but I bought one to stick it. And I thought, wait a minute, this is taking way too long. So I just, cut it off, lit it, stuck it in, where you'd put it up by the strings. And then I just, 10 seconds later, I was like, oh, that looks pretty good. I mean, it was obviously authentic, but kind of corny.
All right. I think you shouldn't have done that.
I probably devalued it.
I'm sure that devalued it.
But it did look cool.
Oh, my gosh.
I know.
Okay, should we go over any of these again? What were the guitar argument topics that you didn't argue about?
Let me see.
Try real hard to have a counterpoint to these.
Well, hang on.
You don't remember?
Oh, this one. I think the wax potting tone protector or tone killer. I just from playing guitars here, I would not want a wax potted humbucker.
Okay,
that I would definitely not want. You can definitely hear the openness of a
so
a vintage style PAF. Through a tube amp.
Yeah, the kind of the cons of it, the argument against it is that it's a potential problem with high gain or high volume.
Yes.
And if it's a poorly assembled pickup where the magnet's loose or things are not aligned properly or the covers are not flat, when our covers are flat, you're setting yourself up, probably for a feedback problem. But I don't think we've gotten anybody that's almost absolutely everything we sell is unwax potted in the humbucker realm. And I don't think we've gotten one person who got pickups that said, I need to send these back so you can wax pot them this year.
No, this year, no.
Yeah. Every once in a great while it'll happen. Every once in a great while someone will request that they be wax potted, and we're happy to do it. And we don't charge anything for it, but it's well below 1% of what we make.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not really an issue with a well-assembled pickup. And the fact is, so then the next argument, kind of complaint potentially against them, is that people can hear like the pick tapping on the cover. And they don't like that. Some people don't like that. I don't care, and there's an easy remedy. Don't pick over the pickup. Yeah. But I think that, honestly, the fact that you can hear that is just like a clear demonstration that it's getting the acoustic properties of the guitar. And you want that, even with a solid body. Why would you want to suppress that? Because it's a less lively experience pickup if it's totally wax potted. Don't you agree? Mm-hmm. And again, with the Fender pickups, the wax potting, if you slice open an old Fender pickup, very often it's not totally saturated with wax. There's still I maintain that the good ones are still microphonic in a good way, but the wax on the outside, on the outer winds, serves really as a way to protect the windings from coming loose. Did I set that again? From coming loose or accidentally snagging on something. So you have this coating of wax kind of stabilizing it, but you still keep a lot of the good microphonics.
Right.
So I think that's the trick to a Fender one. Well, not one of the tricks. One of the things I think actually is a sign of a good Fender style pickup is that it's wax potted, but it still has microphonics that you can like tap on it. With a Telecaster pickup too, the other complaint would be that if it's not well wax potted, the bass plate can oscillate,
apart,
and it'll make noise. But that's really that's an assembly problem. That's something that was not closely watched in an assembly. And vintage ones often show this, but it's fixable without totally saturating the quill. Okay, have we exhausted that, Matthew?
I think we have.
Okay,
we're gonna go on to the.
We're that's right. You've got Rorschach riffs.
That's the next subject.
Let's see what Paul's up to here. Paul, do you feel up to listening to Rorschach riffs, Matthews, and seeing if you can guess any of these?
I think you'll get some of these.
Are some of these on his radar?
Yes.
Now, Paul,
if he's listened to the radio,
Paul, you don't play guitar, do you?
I do not.
No.
That doesn't matter.
You listen to music.
He listens to the radio. He listens to music.
Okay. All right. So would you need a guitar here?
I need a guitar.
Not a bass.
No, I need. I'll take the
which one?
The Baja Telly.
Okay. Do you want a little distortion for your Rorschach riffage?
Sure, a little bit maybe.
Okay. Well, I'm maybe here. Okay. Well, hold on, Paul. You can't hear us, can you?
I can hear you, yes.
You can still. Oh, you can hear. Okay, well, hold on. We're going to get Paul the full opportunity to identify Rorschach riffs. Okay, Matthew. Again, the audience needs to, we need to know how to play this game.
Okay, the game is 4 riffs. Try to guess them. Play them in sort of quick succession. And
these are 4 famous licks or associated with hits songs.
Yes.
So we should know. We've got a chance with these.
Yes.
Okay.
Some of these go way back.
These are hits in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Okay. Paul's ready. I'm ready. The audience is ready. 4. Okay. We got to identify I've got my pen and the little note card here. I'm
ready. Okay. We'll do them 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. Okay, that's the last one.
I have to give you the little. Yeah,
oh, that's an easy one. Well, it could be. Could be many different songs here. Okay,
the slurry. So do it again.
I know the first one, the second, and the third. Paul, hold on. Let's see what Paul. Do you have any names that you can attach to these?
I think the first one.
Don't say it. Okay. We wanted the audience to have the full experience here. Okay, go ahead again.
Do it again.
Do it again. I'm one and the last one. I'm pretty sure I know. Okay, 3. Is it about a gay song?
It's a standard, but do you want me to? Do you want me to give you a? Think of a steak. Think of a steak. I think the person who's most associated with it. Think of a type of steak, like what kind of a well-known. A good steak, you'd
okay,
say.
You mean the artist? Oh, okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so I think that artist, most commonly associated with that song.
It could be several songs, but I think the one I'm thinking of. Okay.
Well, what happens? What happens on a Friday? Is it Friday?
Okay. Yeah.
Is that a good guess?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, now I know what it is.
All right.
But I'm not going to get the song name is. Okay.
You think you got it? Any more hints?
Yeah. But it could be many songs.
True.
Okay. Okay, Paul's not going to know that.
No,
I doubt.
That's a bluesy. That's a blues reference.
Okay.
How about the second one? Do you need any?
Yeah, the second one I do not know. I'm having a very hard. Play it again. Play all of these again here. Okay. Oh, I'm thinking it must be Bo Diddley, but
it's not quite the Bo Diddley riff. If I'm doing it right, it's a think.
Is it Buddy Holly? Oh, okay. So because a lot of Buddy Holly stuff is Bo Diddley kind of,
but Bo Diddley I would say is more.
Okay,
it goes to the second chord, correct? But the Bo Diddley.
Okay, no, it is.
The Stones covered
that is
it.
a Bo Diddley song, isn't it?
I don't know, but I'm not an expert in old rock and roll. Is it a Bo Diddley? The Stones covered it. They covered it back in the day, I believe.
What's? I know the lyrics. I'm forgetting the name of the song.
Do you want me to sing the first lyric?
Okay. Okay. Maybe it'll come to me.
How am I going to tell you?
Yeah, I know.
I love it.
Oh no! Okay. That's right.
You got it.
Yeah. I think that's the name of it, right? Okay. All right. So should we'll play one more time for the audience, and then we'll see if Paul knows any of these.
I've forgotten them too. Hang on.
Okay. All right, Paul. We're going to see if you can you name any of those songs.
The first one's Pretty Woman, and the last one is Revolution.
Okay, you can see how he might think that, but okay. Tell Paul how well he did there.
We got 1 out of 2.
And the first one is correct.
Right. That's correct.
All right. Well done, Paul, on the first one. Oh, he's dejected now. It's going to affect his work. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, we'll mute him so we don't hear him crying.
Oh, we had to go through your guess.
Okay. All right. So, the first one is Pretty Woman.
Correct.
Roy Orbison.
Correct.
Second one is it Not Fade Away?
Correct.
By Buddy Holly. I guess that is his song, isn't it?
I believe it is. I never.
But it is basically Bo Diddley, isn't it? In the instrumentally. Okay, so third one I thought was I thought it was. Have you ever been mistreated? You know what I'm talking about. Is that 5 Long Years, or what's the name of that song? That's not what it is.
No.
Now I'm correct. You gave me enough hints that I now know that it is Stormy Monday by T-Bone Walker.
Right, and the one I'm doing is the live Clapton in the
because
70s
you said the
version.
Eagle, or no, you said What Flies on Friday, and that's the Eagle flies on Friday.
Saturday I go out to play.
Yeah, and so that that means he gets paid because the eagle would be a silver dollar.
Oh, is that where? Oh, is that where the term comes from?
I think that's the idea.
Eagle flies on,
or a gold piece or something. So the eagle is the money.
And is it also flying away?
Going to be an eagle on the money.
He's going to spend it.
Yeah, and yeah. So let's see. And number 4 is Johnny B. Good. No. By Chuck Berry?
It is a Chuck Berry song, but think of
okay, it could be many Chuck Berry songs.
That's the thing. It's very difficult, but it's that slurry at the end is.
Well, that's in okay. Oh,
if you watch the movie,
I knew you were going to say that because Keith Richardson and
Hail Rock and Roll in the film, Chuck is going like this to
Is it
Keith.
Nadine?
No, it's Stones covered it, but it's lady's name O'Carroll.
O'Carroll. Okay.
O'Carroll. Okay. But if you watch Hail Rock and Roll, I remember watching it going, wait a minute, he's basically giving you a lesson because he's standing in front of Keith going, no, that's not how you play it. And Keith's sort of looking at him, and then
was the upshot of it that Keith Richards was not bending before he.
I think he was
picking it then bending.
Yeah,
but it's like Chuck Berry was saying you have to bend it then unbend as you pick it.
Yeah, and you do that kind of the back and forth. But he it's a nice little guitar lesson, and it really what's going on is that Keith is trying to tell Chuck how to do stuff, and Chuck really isn't having it. But it's then there's a little dynamic between the two of them in the rehearsals. They're banging heads.
So the three, have you ever been mistreated? Is the name of that song 5 Long Years?
I believe you're right. I believe that one. Yeah.
It's sort of the same intro.
Yeah. It's blues is recycling everything all the time.
Okay.
That's what I got.
Well, those were all identifiable. You commended Matthew
Thank you very much.
for actually, except that Chuck Berry one.
Yeah, I know.
That's like a Wordle, where it could be shake, shave, shame.
Yeah.
Share.
You have to
shade. And then you're like, you don't know it.
Well, I was trying to grab another one in there, but it was taking too long. So, well, I'm just going to go to that one. I've got that one ready, so I'm just going to borrow that one for this week.
All right, let's put your guitar away here, Matthew.
Mute that.
Okay, we're back, and we're going to go now to your musical musings. And I do not know what your musical musings are this week, Matthew.
Neither do I.
Did you not have any?
No, I do.
You do, of course.
I noticed I did ask for input last week about should I go to the Rush concert in 2026.
No one said anything.
No one said anything. I was a bit disappointed in that. Sorry, folks, but I'll have to make up my own mind. I guess that's what people are saying. It said you have that's a decision
put out
for
the plea again this week. You know, you've got a decision to make.
Well, what's interesting about it is the like they're going to play.
I feel like someone did say something. They said I ought to pay for it.
That was probably me.
I don't know if I'm imagining that.
Yeah, I don't. I looked through the comments. I was like, I thought someone would say something for sure. But they're not really. There's going to be 2 concerts in the Detroit area, or in Detroit, right downtown Detroit in August of 2026. And the tickets aren't selling fast. I guess it's like anything. People are going to maybe, it's not a problem getting a ticket because I guess the way they price them. People, I think.
How many days are they going to be there?
They're going to do 2 shows over, I think, 3 days. So there's a day off, I think, 26th, 28th, I think they're doing it. This was announced today. Probably people saw that. Did you see that David Coverdale has announced his retirement?
No.
It was
How old is David Coverdale?
He's about early 70s.
Didn't he have a bout where he lost his voice or kind of psychosomatically?
I
think
sure.
he did.
I think,
right? I think he. So the 2 people that have done that I know of, maybe I'm wrong on him, but didn't Meat Loaf have a period of time where he I just can't do it. He wasn't anything physically wrong with him.
Really?
But he just couldn't do it. I don't know if I'm imagining this, but I thought both of them sort of had an episode of this, and it's not a. Maybe it was I don't think it was spasmodic dysphonia, but there's people that have spasmodic dysphonia. Who's the Alison Krauss?
Mm-hmm.
And Tony Rice had spasmodic dysphonia. And it just developed, and they had to kind of overcome it.
Did Alison Krauss have to? Was there any kind of surgery, or was it?
I don't know. I don't know that there was.
Just had to get over it.
Yeah.
But I think I looked online. I think the last time he performed was
actually. I need to ask my daughter. She's studying to be a
speech pathologist.
She's getting her master's in speech pathology right now. I'll ask her about that. I'm kind of curious.
But Coverdale, it said, hadn't performed since 2022 or 23, so he hasn't performed in at least 2 or 3 years, and he's sort of hanging it up. But he was very gracious in his online post that he put. He thanked everyone, and it's been a 50-year sort of career for him, and he's had some pretty good highlights. I mean,
I know it's kind of amazing. Like I really wasn't aware of his the first thing I remember seeing of his was The Still of the Night on MTV. Right? But I didn't realize he had like a whole career before that.
Sure.
Like that was a big hit.
That was huge. Oh yeah.
But I mean, he had this history with Rainbow, and was it Rainbow?
No, I think it was Deep Purple.
Deep Purple
3, I believe. He was sang for a while for them, and then of course the Jimmy Page, Coverdale Page.
Yeah.
Period. And that's over 30 years ago now. And then the Whitesnake stuff.
Then the Whitesnake stuff. And two, didn't he
John Sykes, Bernie Marsden.
Yeah. Yeah, that was early. That was something that kind of got rehashed for MTV too.
Well, yeah. Like Here I Go Again.
Here I Go Again. Did he redo that?
Yeah, he redid it.
He redid it. And then I like years later I find out, oh no, that he did that with Bernie Marsden, like that was its own separate thing.
Yeah, it was John Sykes, I think, who wrote that or co-wrote the song. Yeah, so it was kind of rehashed, but
yeah, he's kind of had a way longer career than I was aware of. Kind of when I first was exposed to him.
Yeah, so he's done, but I saw him. Well, it's true. These guys aren't getting any younger. I mean, what's amazing is like the Rolling Stones are going to apparently put out an album either late this year or early 2026, and then they're supposed to be doing something. They were supposed to tour in the Europe in 2025, but they couldn't. That didn't happen. So they recorded, and it's like those guys are. Well, Mick Jagger's already 82. Keith will be 82 in December. So it's like holy manoli. It's like they're not stopping, so it's like,
Well, why should they? I mean, seriously, they're having fun. They're making money.
Yeah, sure.
What else are they going to do?
Yeah. No, keep it going. And I thought maybe for my musing, getting back to.
Do you have any deep philosophical insights?
I do.
See, I think that's what's missing from these musings. You're giving interesting history lessons, but we're not getting any sort of deeper meaning.
Well, this is what.
So a musing would. I feel like there's a deeper meaning that should be expressed.
That's what I'm trying to get out.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so this week.
Now go. You've got 5 minutes.
Okay, I can do it in less than 5 minutes. But this week, I don't know if you heard, they were promoting this like a digital artist or an AI artist as having a #1 country song.
I saw that somewhere.
Yeah.
Is that actually true?
What was true is that they had the #1 song for digital sales.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't actually. This is #1 on like billboards.
Yeah, it wasn't #1 on Billboard, but it had sold 3,000 units or $3,000 worth of the song at 99 cents a hit, and had become the #1 digital country song. Okay. But it is soulless, terrible music.
I haven't heard it.
It's bad. Is
it really?
Bad. But so I thought, with all of the AI, with all of this technology, with all the stuff competing for everyone's time, I think I'm going to give people homework this weekend. So what you need to do is you need to cut.
You need to find some soulful AI music.
No AI. You need to like take a nice acoustic guitar and shut yourself away for 15 minutes and just play it and just like unplug yourself from the world. Because that is true. I was thinking about that. It's like sometimes when you're playing guitar, it is therapeutic, and it's just don't have your phone with you, and don't.
Pretty soon you'll be playing your guitar with an AI backing track. Real time, it's going to hear you.
Yes, that's true.
And it's going to respond to you. It'll respond to your mistakes and timing, and maybe it'll even like give you lessons at some point.
But I don't want to
imagine that. Imagine that it plays along, it hears you play, and it says, "Oh, you may want to lighten up a little bit on your on your fretting hand because you're pulling some of the notes sharp. What if it did that?
Yeah, it might, but that's part of the beauty of guitar playing. I think is because like I thought if I've got two daughters, one is semi interested in guitar, but I've decided I'm not going to tell them if they're doing something funky because that's what makes guitar players themselves. They do things different and they make it their own. So that's what I think the beauty of guitar playing is, that it is an incredibly expressive instrument that you can have two different players and they'll pick up the same guitar and sound completely different.
That's true. Yeah.
So I think people should just take 15 minutes and just
15 minutes of guitar reflection,
undistracted guitar reflection. We'll call it.
Okay.
That's my
all right.
That's my daily all
right
affirmation.
Okay.
For today.
Let's that's it for your musings, Matthew.
That's it.
Okay. Well, let's
check in with Paul.
Let's check in with Paul. Paul, hold on here. Paul's still working.
Oh my gosh.
Look at that.
Working hard.
He's got some silicone RTV there that he is going to put ever so slight amount. He's putting, this is a little, it's not really a secret. A lot of guys do this, but this is sort of your alternative to wax potting if you want to suppress the cover squeal, potential of cover squeal, by coupling the cover to the top of the pickup. So that's what he was doing there. And we put a little piece of sort of cling film over the slug coil so that it doesn't. So it's totally reversible. What do you, although it's clear, I thought you were giving me some sort of horrible gesture.
I felt the same thing for a second.
It's a clear film.
So we have a machine that spits out a little piece of cling film right up for the slug bobbin, and there you go.
So it doesn't react with the bobbin?
Yeah, so. No, it's not, hasn't yet. Let's go. So Paul, did you have a good time?
I did. It was a blast.
All right. Good. Someone at least had a good time. Let's see. Okay, here we are, Matthew.
We're back.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.